Hello everyone, thank you for checking out our video. Today we're going to be talking about Microsoft Dynamics CRM. The video is going to be aimed at giving a high-level overview of how and what Microsoft Dynamics CRM can do, specifically from a sales and account management perspective. We are going to be having other videos that are going to be more detailed on the other two modules, which are service and marketing. So stay tuned for those. Should you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to reach out to us at sales@atom.com, or you can give us a call at the number that you're seeing in the top left. In terms of the agenda for sort of this video, we're going to have a very brief PowerPoint. The agenda of the PowerPoint really is just to set up the demo. We'll talk a little bit about typically how CRM is used, and then we'll go into methods of accessing Microsoft Dynamics CRM, and lastly, a terminology discussion about the default names for a lot of the areas of the tool, just so they make sense when we go through the actual demo. So the only shameless plug, I promise, what do we do here at ATOM? So we are a Microsoft partner. Now, partners are generally engaged to make these CRM implementations much easier. Obviously, these products have a lot to them, and the value of a partner really is that we bring the years of experience and the many deployments under our belt to come to you and say, this is how we believe you should set up your product. So when you do select a partner, it's very important that they have a good understanding of your business and how you operate, as these tools need to be configured around your process and your business. So the two products that we mainly work in are Microsoft Dynamics CRM, of course, which we're talking about today, and also on the ERP side. Now, very quickly, for those of you that have seen the older versions of Microsoft Dynamics CRM pre-2013, it really has changed a whole lot. Microsoft reinvented the tool, they changed the way that everything looks and feels, and they've made vast improvements over the previous versions, which you may have seen years ago, such as Microsoft Dynamics CRM 4.0 or even 2011. So I'm excited to show you sort of what the current version looks like. Now, when you talk about GP, Nav, and Ax, those are ERP products. Some of you may be familiar with them. They generally handle all of your financial side of your business, everything from AR, AP, and they even have HRIS tools and things like that built in. You do have the ability to integrate your CRM to ERP products, even if they're not Microsoft products. Of course, Microsoft CRM can integrate to other tools. But there is some big advantages if you are using a Microsoft ERP and a Microsoft CRM. And we'll talk more about those in other videos, as this one's just going to be a quick overview. So I really do urge you guys to strongly get a quote from a partner. It doesn't have to be us, but make sure you do that, as they're going to bring a lot of experience. And whenever we do see CRM deployments fail, typically it's because an organization has tried to do it internally. They aren't experts. They didn't have the time to focus to it, so they sort of couldn't give the right amount of commitment to the product. And of course, that's very important when you're rolling out a new tool. Now, very high level, how can CRM help your business? Well, it's designed to have three different areas of use. Number one, sales. Number two, service. And three, marketing. In this video, we're only going to be talking about sales. From a sales perspective, it's meant to manage from the very beginning when something is a prospect to the very end when maybe it's an opportunity or it's being closed as either won or lost. It's meant to drive and track that whole sales cycle from the very beginning when somebody is first engaged to the very end. All of your activities are tracked. The advantages with that is if you're speaking to a lot of people, often it's very difficult to remember the last thing that you said to them and what you spoke about. CRM really helps you track all of that against each record. So when you pull up someone's name in CRM, you can remember exactly what you last spoke to them about and when that was. It's designed to give you that sort of 360 view of the customer. If you're walking into a meeting with one of your existing customers, perhaps you might want to know if they've been dealing a lot with your support staff or service staff, so that you know that they're not very happy before you walk in the door, so that you can action those items. There's also things like mass mailing that you can do. So if you wanted to pull up a list of contacts that meet a certain criteria, such as show me all C-level contacts within the Toronto area, there's a lot of really cool filtering options that you can do within Dynamics. Now, where the CRM really comes alive is when you start looking at things like automation. Things like perhaps being able to be alerted if you haven't gotten back to a lead or an opportunity that you're working on within a certain amount of days. That way, it'll proactively tell you, hey, don't forget about this guy or don't forget about this account. So it's very helpful from an account management perspective, as it always keeps you on top of your customers and making sure that you're driving the process forward. In terms of document management, you can store any type of document directly to the record. So for example, if you opened up an account record, typically those have all of the details of a company that you're working with. You can store proposals, engagements, whatever would be relevant. And the intention there is if you need to get to a document, you know exactly where it is and what it's stored against. And lastly, from a visibility standpoint, Dynamics is filled with beautiful charts and dashboards and reports. Now, they're geared towards different audiences, so it's not just for executives or management. There's also a whole bunch of reports in there for those salespeople or account managers that are doing their day-to-day. Things like being able to set up a certain number of phone calls being a quota, or perhaps revenue quotas or goals. It gives you the ability to make sure you know sort of how things are going very proactively. From a management and executive standpoint, you can track everything from pipeline reports, how much business is going to be coming in, and you can even do things like weighted pipeline, which calculates based on your previous probability and all the deals you have in your pipeline, what's actually likely to close, which doesn't just take into account what salespeople think is going to close. You can do trending, which of your products is becoming more popular. Is your business trending up or down? There's many, many useful tools that give you that rich visibility into your business that many of you are looking for. How can you access Microsoft Dynamics CRM? Well, there's a few different ways. One of the biggest wins that Microsoft has to offer is Microsoft makes Outlook. Microsoft also makes, of course, Dynamics CRM. So they've made the integration between those two products very seamless. The advantage there is that if you're already working in Outlook, for those of you who have Outlook rolled out now, you're just bringing in another tool to that existing Outlook place that everyone's working. So it's very easy to drive that user adoption when you don't have to force users to go outside of where they already are working. Now, I know there's other CRM products out there that have Outlook add-ons, but I will tell you from someone who's been on the side of using those tools as well as Dynamics, there is something to be said for the Microsoft Dynamics CRM to Outlook integration. It's extremely tight as Microsoft owns both products. You can also use the web browser, which is another very common way to access CRM. And of course, that is not just Internet Explorer. They also support Chrome, Mozilla, the other popular browsers that are out there. If you're using iPads or tablets, you can also use that for Dynamics. And lastly, one of the biggest uses nowadays is mobile phones. Whether it be a BlackBerry, iPhone, Android, or of course Windows Phone, you have some beautiful interfaces there. You can get to the data you need, and there is offline clients available. So if, for example, maybe you're on an airplane and you'd like to catch up and enter some notes that you remembered, you can very easily enter those into the tool, and then when you reestablish an internet connection, it'll upload those notes. In terms of mobile phones, obviously you have less screen real estate. Even if you have one of those big smartphones that are phablets, they're massive in terms of size, you still don't have as much screen real estate as you would if you were on a laptop. So you have the ability to customize your screen real estate. So if you only want to see important information when you're using a mobile phone, it's very easy to customize and tailor that. So the last slide before we get into the demo is just to set up really 4 basic Microsoft sort of terms. I do want to stress these terms can be changed. So if you don't call sort of an account in your business, you call it something else, you can rename basically anything you'd like within the tool to match your current business terminology. So an account is basically an organization that you're working with. Now this could be ADEM, for example. You're going to be tracking all of the details related to ADEM, such as their address, their credit limit is another common use, and of course all of the contacts that work at ADEM. The advantage with doing that is you can track different types of contacts. So if you needed to pull up a billing contact versus a sales contact versus an operational contact, you can very easily do that within the tool. The next record is a contact, which is of course an individual. Typically, anything in terms of correspondence, communication, phone calls is all going to be tracked against the contact record. Next is an opportunity, which is of course an opportunity for business. This is a potential deal that you're hoping to bring in and close. And against the opportunity record, you're typically going to have proposals, quotes, competitor tracking, and history of sort of what's happened from the very beginning of the sales cycle to the very end. And lastly is an activity, which is any type of communication that is done within the tool, whether it be a phone call, an email, a task, or something else. So at this point, we're going to jump into the demo of Microsoft Dynamics CRM, and we are going to be looking at Microsoft Dynamics CRM online today. Okay, so right now we're viewing Microsoft Dynamics CRM in the web browser version, as you can see. We're going to be having a look at the basic areas of the tool right now, and we'll be covering some navigation. Number one, you're going to see that I'm in the Sales Management dashboard. There's a bunch of preset dashboards that are all ready to go for you when you buy Microsoft Dynamics CRM. So the advantage there is no customization is needed. They've developed a whole list of charts and dashboards that are commonly used within the industry. You're seeing right now under the Sales Management dashboard, we're seeing things like pipeline versus forecast by sales rep, who's leading the sales leadership board, actual revenue by month, and of course you can change or make your own charts very easily, and that's one of the big wins of Microsoft is the chart builder. To create your own charts or dashboard is actually built off that same Excel Microsoft chart builder, so it's very easy to do so on your own. Now when you look at the interface, the first thing you're going to notice is these tiles. This is based off that same sort of familiar Windows 8 or Windows 10 feel for those of you that are using that Windows product. The advantage is that you can touch enable and sort of navigate the tool if you're using a tablet, as they're nice and big, and you can very easily do that. When you break down inside of sales, which is one of the entities and the one that we're going to be looking at today, you're going to see a whole variety of different areas here, from the accounts and contacts, leads, opportunities, all of the competitors that you are competing against, quotes, orders, and everything else within the tool. I do want to stress that a very important aspect of these implementations are configuring it so that when you log in, you're only seeing sort of the areas of the tool that you're using most. So if a salesperson logs in, they shouldn't see everything related to service and marketing, as they don't care about that. It just sort of makes the system feel sort of congested when it shouldn't. So the ribbon itself is very easy to navigate. There's also a recently viewed, which allows you to go into any of the recently viewed records that you've been in, whether it be a lead, opportunity, contact, or account record. Everything is right here for you, so it's easy to reference and snap back and forth between the different areas that you've been in. Another very big win that Microsoft has implemented is this global search, and it really changes the way that you navigate. So previously, before global search was implemented, if you needed to go into, let's say, a lead for one of your potential prospects called Tailspin Toys in this example, you would have to dig through the ribbon, go to leads, and then you'd have to find the lead that you're interested in, and then go ahead and open that up. The advantage with this global search is all you need to do is type in the name of the account, which is Tailspin Toys in this example, hit search, and it will search throughout the entire system for everything that's related to the account Tailspin Toys, such as all people that are also at Tailspin Toys, any leads or activities that have recently been logged. And if you click them, it'll immediately bring you right into the record that you care about. So it changes sort of the way that you navigate, and it's a very easy way to get around rather than having to dig through the different areas of the tool. So there's been a lot of positive feedback from the community about that feature in itself. Another nice feature is this Quick Create. Now the intention here is, regardless of where you are, whether you're maybe in an opportunity or maybe you're just checking out a dashboard to see how things are going, if someone phones in and you want to be able to quickly enter information, you shouldn't have to dig through the system. So they've created Quick Create for that specific reason. If you need to, let's say, enter a lead quickly because they phoned in, you would just simply click plus, lead, And this form is tailored or tailorable and can be configured to track whatever you need. But this is designed to only capture sort of the basics while that person called in, so that you're not using a notebook, you're using CRM, which is of course the whole value. So we'll say here they were interested in a toy. Their name we'll say is John Jones, and whatever other details that you want to track. Of course, their phone number so that you can call them back in case you get disconnected, or even if you want to call them back to make sure that this lead goes through. So it's very seamless and easy to navigate the tool, quickly enter information when you need to. Another item that I want to show you guys is the help. So this is something that has got a lot of love from Microsoft. They've created a help center that's designed to be an actual very useful place for individuals who own Dynamics to go. So if you're a user and maybe you've forgotten how to do something, they have video libraries on how to do just about anything you would like, whether it be, how to create a lead. If you search through the Community and Help Center, it'll give you step-by-step directions on how to do just about anything that you could want, which makes it a great sort of resource for users that are new to CRM to go. So I would definitely encourage you to check this out. We're going to start off by having a look at an account. So we're going to navigate there the long way just to show you as much of the system as possible. So we'll go through sales to accounts. Now the first thing you're going to notice is that I'm only seeing 2 accounts. And the reason for that is because I'm in a view called My Active Accounts. Views in Dynamics are a way of ultimately filtering and sorting any type of record that you're looking for. And you can create your own views based on whatever set of criteria or columns you would like. In this case, I'm viewing the active accounts, which is going to show me every active account within Microsoft CRM that I have access to see. If you would like to add a column here or anything like that, it's very easy to go ahead and create your own personal view, and you can manipulate these views to show you or not show you whatever information you would like. This is particularly useful when you're looking at sorting data. So if you wanted to say, show me all accounts that I have that are within the country that equals, let's say, Canada, you could enter this criteria, and this view, save it as Canadian accounts, and it would pull up all those accounts based on that criteria. We're going to go ahead and open an account in this example called City Power and Light. So an account, of course, is just a record that enables you to see everything related to that account. So City Power and Light, which is an organization that in this example we're working with, you can see their address, stock ticker name, and any field you see here or that you don't see here can either be removed or added as per your liking. The middle is our activity pane, which is where we can see all of our recent phone calls, cases, emails that have happened, and this is where we're going to go to get a good indication of what's happened recently with City Power and Light. On the right-hand side, we're seeing our primary account, which is Walter Harp. And you can also tailor this based on role. So as a salesperson, if you log in and you have a sales contact, you can have the system intelligently change the primary contact based on whomever is logging in. Down here is all accounts related to the City Power and Light account. And you could add a little column here called type of account where you could enter billing contact, operational contact, or whatever is relevant to your business. At the bottom, you're seeing all recent opportunities that have existed related to City Power and Light, and all recent cases that are related to City Power and Light. And of course, case is going to vary depending on what you do within your organization, but ultimately this is any type of customer request or issue or anything like that. If we jump into the next record that we're going to take a spin through, the primary contact, this is an example of a contact. And of course, this is all information related to the individual, Walter Harp. You're seeing here that he's related to City Power and Lighting. And if he had any open cases or opportunities, you'd see them listed here. You can see that we recently had a call with Walter, which was just an introduction call where we discussed sort of what we do and what's available within our organization. You can also very easily track all of their preferences if you would like to. such as their gender, marital status, anything that you would like to track, and their contact preferences. So if you want to be able to track opt-ins and opt-outs, this is where you would do that. So once they said, don't email me anymore, this would change to do not allow, depending on how you had it set up, of course. Now, if we jump back to the account, City Power and Light, you're also going to see that there's a parent account. So Dynamics natively supports child and parent accounts to make it very seamless and easy to roll up reports based on a grouping of organizations that you work with, such as in this case, if we had City Power and Light Toronto, City Power and Light Vancouver, you could roll those all up and report on either City Power and Light as a whole or individual segments. And you can also track communication on a mass basis down here. So if you said, don't ever email any account that is related to City Power and Light, this is where you would set that preference. And of course, this can be all automated through opt-in and opt-out preferences. What we're going to do now is we're going to open up an opportunity. Now keep in mind, an opportunity is just an opportunity for business. Depending on what you do within your business, this is going to drastically change based on this example. In this case, you can see that they're interested in our JJ line of products. When I open up an opportunity, the very first thing you're going to notice is this top ribbon system. So you're going to see the qualify, develop, propose, and close stage. Each of these is designed to represent a sales stage. This is going to be configured to represent and mimic your selling process. So if, for example, you only have 3 sales stages, or maybe you have more, this is going to be tailored and configured to represent your selling process. The reason that this is so powerful is because it enables salespeople to only have to focus on this ribbon. And you can also stage gate these requirements, such as identify stakeholders, so that it can't be moved on to the next stage, to make sure that your salespeople are following the process. So you don't get to the proposal stage when maybe you haven't even identified who the competitors are or if the stakeholders are involved at this point. Every one of these items can be tailored and configured to match your selling process. Having this sort of streamlined way of managing an opportunity ensures that things are always progressing down that right path, and you don't get to the stage of trying to close an opportunity without having that key information that you must have early on. Against an opportunity, you can track all of your typical information, such as what's their budget amount, how much are we forecasting, when do they think they're going to buy, whereabouts is it in our selling process, which right now it's in the develop stage, what's the situation, what are we proposing, which products are we proposing, which is where you could create all of your quotes. Are we providing them a discount? And you can even have quote approvals. So if, for example, you can maybe create a quote, but you can't approve it, and management must approve it, you could very easily set up that workflow here. Now, because this is designed to be a very high-level overview, we're not going to get too much into the quoting side of things, but if you have interest in seeing that, reach out to us and we'll be sure to show you a demo of that. There's also going to be other demo videos coming that are going to more cover each of these pieces in great detail. If you need to establish a sales team, you can very easily snap that in so that other users within your organization are brought in and they're made aware of this opportunity. And you can develop workflow that will automatically bring in sales teams that are relevant. So for example, if an opportunity is created for the JJ line of products, you can have the system automatically know to bring in Amy Alberts as a sales professional, as she's an expert at the JJ line of products. Now, let's say that we've identified our stakeholders and we've also identified our competition. We're competing against a datum in this case, and if we open up our competitor record, you can track any type of competing information that you'd like here, such as what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are. And this enables you to be able to hire new salespeople without them having to know out of the gate the strengths and weaknesses of all your competition. You can track how many opportunities you're winning and losing to each of your competitors as well, and why. Now, if we jump back into the opportunity, we're going to go ahead and navigate on to the next stage of the product. You can see here, now we're served a completely new set of to-dos. So this selling process is really designed to be the only thing that salespeople should have to care about when progressing an opportunity. And this takes away that typical complaint of, well, there's too many fields, or I don't know what to enter and what not to enter. It's designed to be the only thing that they need to focus on to keep things extremely clean and extremely easy. If you had document tracking and document storage, you could very easily do that from right here and store all relevant proposals and documentation directly to this opportunity record. If you're closing an opportunity as lost, you can track the reasons that you're losing it, of course, so that you can report on why you're losing and which of your competitors you're losing to the most. And when you're closing something as one, you can have workflow set up to perhaps alert the billing team or even create a quote or an order in your ERP system should you be setting up that integration. There's a few different activity types native to the system, such as a phone call, activity, email, or appointment. I would also suggest considering to create custom activity types for things like LinkedIn. The advantage of that is if you're sending LinkedIn requests or emails, you can track things like how many emails does it take in order for me to get on average one qualified opportunity. So there's a lot of really cool tracking that you can do when you break apart your activities into different types. Now in this case, we're going to go ahead and just drive through this last stage, which is the proposed stage, and show you a little bit of how you can use activity tracking. So since we've already established our sales team down here by snapping in Amy, we're going to go ahead and mark that complete. For the purpose of the example, we're going to also say that we've went ahead and we've developed our proposal as well as completing that internal review. Keep in mind, you could have this permission so that only perhaps a manager could say, yes, go ahead, it's now approved and completed, you can present it to the client. So there's some really cool sort of stage gating that you can do there to make sure that you set up stop points. In this case, we're going to say we're ready to go ahead and phone Walter Harp to talk about this proposal. So the first thing we're going to do is click Add Phone Call. You're going to notice that the activity drops directly down into the current window. No pop-ups like the old versions of CRM or a lot of the other products that are out there. Very clean interface that you can also snap back and forth between. So if, for example, you want to mark this as complete and then jump back and enter some notes, it's very easy to seamlessly do that as you're talking to the individual on the phone. In this case, we're going to go ahead and say, unfortunately, we were unable to reach Walter when we phoned, so we left him a voicemail. We're also going to set ourselves a task to follow up to make sure that we don't forget about him. Press OK. We'll set a follow-up task for, let's say, tomorrow. For the purpose of the example, we're going to say it's tomorrow, and we're going to go ahead and have that phone call with Walter. You can see that all of our activities seamlessly snap in and can be viewed very easily. In terms of emails, if you had this integrated to your Outlook, when you sent an email and clicked track, it would also show here, which I'm going to be showing in another video. So activity tracking, very easy to do with the new version of Microsoft Dynamics. The last thing we're going to do in the demo today is we're going to have a look at some of the native reports. So native meaning reports that come out of the box, no customization, no development needed. There's a whole set of reports that come with the tool, and I'll actually put a link to all of those reports in the description of this video so that you can check out what comes natively with CRM. The first report that we're going to look at is the neglected lead report. To get to that report, all we need to do is jump into the leads, and then we're just going to simply click Run Report, Neglected Lead Report. The system considers something neglected if no activity has been logged against it for a certain amount of time. In this case, I'm going to say, show me all leads that have been neglected, which means no activity, phone calls, anything like that logged against it for at least 2 days. When I view that report, it's going to show me a breakdown of how many of each of my salespeople are neglecting for at least 2 days. If I go into Molly Clark, I can drill in and see which of those two make up the report. You can see here that Walter Harp is someone that we met at a trade show. And in this example, I'm going to say I want to make sure that Molly gets back to him as soon as possible as I met him. So I'm going to jump into the lead, and you can see that every chart and report is drillable. And I'm just going to simply leave Molly a note saying, make sure you get back to him ASAP. And then, of course, when Molly logs in, she'll have that note to make sure that she stays on top of it. So the system is very helpful to allow you to manage all of your leads without having to get it to the point where they're upset or unhappy. You can also set up alerts that maybe would fire at the 1-day mark that would email Molly and give her a chance to action it before you have to go in and run the report. There's all sorts of automation that you can do when you're looking at neglected leads, opportunities, or even accounts. The next report we're going to run is the activity report. So to jump into the activity report, we're just going to go to activities, and then we're going to run report activities. Now, the activity report is going to show me all activities that my sales team has done today. And this is going to give me an idea of who's the most busy, and if we're dividing our sales teams into maybe products or territories, it's a good indication of maybe where I need to hire more or maybe where I need to do some changes. So in this case, you're seeing that Jamie Redding has made 14 phone calls, 7 tasks, and sent 1 email today. Whereas if you look at Carlos, you can see that he's only sent 2 emails. So it's a very, very useful tool to give you an understanding of exactly what's going on within your organization. And of course, like any other report in the tool, you can drill into every aspect of these reports to make it very informational and very easy to get at. The next report that we're going to run is the pipeline report, which I think was probably the most visited report in all of CRM. To go to the pipeline report, I'm just going to jump into opportunities and then simply click run report and jump into sales pipeline. You can see some other reports here that are available. Run report. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down this report by date so that I can understand how much business based on my current pipeline is forecasted to come in each month. You can see here that according to our salespeople, we're forecasted to close $25 million in July of 2015. That's based on what they believe will come in. If I change the estimated revenue to weighted revenue, the system will intelligently calculate based on the previous probability of deals on where that deal is in the pipeline, how likely it is to close. So it's one thing to look at your pipeline based on what salespeople think is going to come in. It's another to look at it based on the previous probability of where those deals are within your pipeline. So if I change this to weighted pipeline, you can see that that $25 million is actually more like $15 million according to the previous probability of those deals. So it's very handy, and it's a great way to look at your pipeline. You don't have the option of just looking at it from how salespeople think things are going to go, but rather based on the previous probability of deals. In terms of the reporting, there's a whole bunch more reports in the tool, and I will set a link to those reports in the description of this video, so be sure to check those out. If you think Microsoft Dynamics CRM might be a good fit for your organization, give us a call. We're happy to explain more about the system, take you on a tailored run through the product, maybe perhaps specifically around what you're going to be using it for. We can put some of your process and products in there so that you can really envision how this tool will operate before having to make the purchase. We're happy to help however we can. You also have a variety of different deployment options, and even licensing options. So we're happy to discuss those as well. We do have a new product called ATOM Rapid Deploy, which is an implementation model that we've recently created that allows organizations to get started very quickly and very cost effectively. So for a basic implementation through the Rapid Deploy model, you're only looking at around $3,000, which is a never before offered price point for Microsoft Dynamics CRM implementations. And we're very happy to allow organizations to get started quickly and easily. So please reach out to us, and thank you very much for watching the demo. We'll be sure to release some additional videos in the very near future. Thanks again.